Over the course of my career, I've seen lots of different teams as a teammate, as a leader, as an observer. Some of them are really strong teams and some of them not so much. Of course, I've compared them. Maybe two teams in the same company, teams with similar talent and goals, with completely different experiences and completely different results. I've lived it. I'm sure you've lived it too. It made me curious about what actually makes teams click. And that curiosity is a big part of why I grew as a leader and ultimately why I wrote the book, Built on Purpose, Lessons in Leadership and Culture. My goal is to help make more great leaders and help them build better cultures. And I believe that by understanding why teams are successful, we become much more intentional about how we lead and the cultures that we build and become better at both. You've probably felt this too. You join one team and things just feel aligned. People communicate well, there's positive energy, things move more quickly. And then maybe you're part of another team where everything just feels a little harder than it should. Meetings aren't productive, it takes longer to make decisions, people aren't fully on the same page, maybe not invested. I got really interested in that gap. Over time, I started to see patterns consistently enough that I began to sketch it out. And eventually it turned into something that I could articulate and use myself. I call it the culture pyramid, a key component of what I believe is the anatomy of a successful organization. This visual is a way to see what's already there or what might be missing in your organization. At a high level, there are a few core components: the foundation, core values, beliefs, and mindsets; capabilities, coming in the form of skills and competencies; the direction, which I call clarity of goal and clarity of purpose; and then trust, which runs through all of it, solidifies engagement, and aids in speed. Recently, I shared a series of short Leadership Minute videos touching on these core components, but the subject overall deserves a deeper, more comprehensive discussion. It's important enough that you can watch this, apply it, and refer to it in the future. I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. At their core, high-performing teams are more aligned than their peers. When teams are aligned, they move, they get things done, they're unified, and they work well together. And when they're not aligned, it's not a good feeling, and chances are you felt that before as well. There's a reason great teams feel different. That feeling, alignment, energy, momentum, it's not accidental, it's intentional, it's structural. It's the result of how these pieces come together over time, through leadership, through decisions, through consistency, and a culture is built along the way that makes the team stronger and their people more engaged. Once I started to understand this, it changed how I approached leadership. Every great structure starts with a great foundation. A high-performing organization is filled with people with the core values, beliefs, and mindsets that are what you might expect: strong moral compass, high integrity, good work ethic, a we over me attitude. But also, they're in alignment with one another, with their leader, and with the organization as a whole. Who you build your team around matters more than most people realize, because beliefs, values, mindsets, they drive behavior. Most of this was formed in someone long before they joined your team, and they bring these traits to your team for better or for worse. I've been on teams where the performance didn't match the talent, and more often than not, it traced back to a misalignment at this level. It doesn't take many people with incongruent values and mindsets to knock a team off its stride. As I grew in my leadership journey, I became much more interested in how I built teams, who I hired, which people I built around, and who needed to move on, frankly. I can't overstate this. Your chances for success as a leader are in direct proportion to the quality of people on your team. And those people on your team will innately feel this composition and how you nurture it. Once you have the right foundation, then skills really start to matter. This is the second level of the culture pyramid. Your team needs to be comprised of people that have the skills and competencies to do the job, of course. But I realized over time that skills are not static. They are brought by people to their teams, but they're also optimally grown and developed and can be combined with one another in a complementary fashion. The best teams I've been a part of weren't just talented, they were intentionally built where people's strengths complemented one another, and the leaders who had the most foresight enabled employees to grow their skill sets, which allowed them to grow in their career and also aided in the retention and engagement of the team. As a leader, the teams you build consist of professionals that fit together like a puzzle optimally. And when you get that right, you stop relying on individual performances and start seeing collective performance. Clarity of goal and clarity of purpose is where a lot of teams struggle. And not because people don't care, it's because they're not clear. There's a phrase that I've used over and over again in several contexts in my leadership journey. If you want people to buy in and truly perform, they have to understand why, and it has to be as easy as possible. The latter is operational, it's process, it's execution. But the understanding why piece, well, that's a responsibility that falls upon the leader that is of utmost importance. Why are we here? What are our goals? What is our purpose? What is our role as a teammate in achieving that purpose and those goals? Your team needs to know this. And as a leader, you have to not only know the answer to these questions, which is table stakes, but you have to be able to clearly articulate it to your team. You have to reinforce it through constant messaging in your decisions, how you prioritize, and how you enable decision-making and prioritization on your team. When people understand what they're working toward and how their work connects to it, everything changes. Decisions get easier, priorities become clearer, energy gets focused, and it's been proven that when people can connect the work that they do to a known goal and purpose, the pride they have in the work that they do goes up, their engagement goes up, their performance goes up. I've seen really hard-working teams spin simply because no one ever defined what winning actually looked like. I've been that guilty party before, and I learned from it. I got better. Please reflect on this and make the necessary course corrections if needed. Then there's trust, the great accelerator on high-performing teams. I don't think of trust as a layer per se. I think of it as the environment everything operates in. It permeates everything on a team. Trust shows up in a lot of ways. Employee to leader, leader to employee, teammate to teammate. Think of these questions any of these people could ask one another. Do I trust you to do your job? Do I trust what you say? Do I trust that you'll follow through on what you promise? Do I trust your intent? Do I feel safe speaking up? As leaders, we are responsible for holding up our end of the bargain here. As leaders, we influence all of this through consistency and through our decision making. And we build or erode trust by who we hire, how we manage, and what we tolerate every single day. Because as my good friend and mentor Steve Beck used to say, Paul, people are always watching. Taking a step back, what I've seen in the best organizations isn't just one thing here. It's an alignment across all of these things. A strong foundation of core beliefs, values, mindsets, the right skills and competencies, a clear direction that everyone aligns with and can speak to, and high levels of trust, people working together. And when that happens, well, now you've got something magic. I do want to take a moment to talk about culture carriers because the best organizations have multiple people that can reinforce and nurture the right culture. These are the characteristics that you want to make sure are plentiful in your organization. An understanding of our systems, culture, and values, people that are generally optimistic and motivate others, folks that are excellent communicators, written and verbal, people that have a track record of accountability, and folks who are naturally curious with a bias for action. Not a lot of people are going to have all 5 of these characteristics, but those that do have all 5 are the people you need to build your team around. Challenge them, support them, enable them, pay them, make sure that they are in multiple places within your organization so that they can be you when you're not in the room. They get it. They get others to get it. They're infectious in all the best ways. I'm really thankful that you made it this far. If any of this resonates with you, this is something that I go much deeper into in my book, Built on Purpose. And if you're leading a team right now and thinking about how to apply all of this, that's exactly what I deliver in my 90-day culture reset, where I help teams focus on building stronger cultures and better performance. You can find more about all of that at paulpetera.com. If you take one thing away from this, true leadership isn't just about effort. It's rooted in self-awareness and being intentional about what you're building and how you're building it. Hope you have a great day.